are we at in society today? Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Every single week, I put my freaking heart and soul into this. I don't go out there and laugh. It's not funny. It's not fun. Nothing's funny to me. I don't want to go out there and get embarrassed on Monday Night Football in front of everybody.
I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
So ain't nothing changed from yesterday. Still the same person I was yesterday, and I got the same thing for you that I had yesterday. You know why I'm here.
You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it. That's the great thing about sports. You play to win. And I don't care if you don't have any wins. You go play to win. When you start telling me it doesn't matter, then retire. Get out. Because it matters.
Well, did you let it spoil your Christmas? I hope not, man. I was thinking about a lot of people yesterday during that game, and one of the many would be, of course, Trent, who gets really wrapped up in the Lions. His dad and grandfather probably have already decided that I'm not going to let this spoil my holiday. I'm not going to let this spoil the time with my family. But I know there's a lot of people who had high expectations and still crossed their fingers, crossed their toes, and hoped there would be so many opportunities for this team moving forward, and just couldn't get it done yesterday. But welcome everybody on a Ferris Coffee Friday. Glad you're with us on X's and Bros throughout the state of Michigan. Our phone number on the Meyer hotline is there for you, 866-838-4843. You can text us at Sports Radio 21,000 and air your grievances. As I put out on social media earlier this morning, I know you've celebrated Festivus. Maybe you've had FIFA strength, I don't know. But I do know that you've aired your grievances. That doesn't mean you can't air your grievances with us right here on X's and Bros about the Detroit Lions. We will dive into that all morning long. Rob Rubik will join us on a Ferris Coffee Friday, and he will talk with us at 7:35 this morning. At 8:35, Matt Drinkle, the head coach of Central Michigan University, who play in the Game Above Sports Bowl later on today against Northwestern, will join us, talk about the Chippewas, talk about what his team has done right, what it needs to do even better here today to come up with a win, and how he celebrated his Christmas Day with his team in downtown Detroit. So we'll get to all that coming up here on X's and Bros throughout the great state of Michigan. You know by now that the Lions disappointed you, that the Vikings ended their season. For all intents and purposes, sure, there's one more game. We said this last week. 2 weeks ago, thought they'd beat Pittsburgh. They didn't. Worried to death about Minnesota because of their defense. Proved to be correct. Nobody thought the offensive line would be that bad. We'll get into that too. And then I said, I just don't see them beating Chicago on the road. And, I don't know who Chicago plays. I don't care who Chicago plays. I still don't think Detroit's good enough to beat them. And it's amazing how my mind has shifted, and I'm sure yours has as well, on the deficiencies of this team overriding its positive players and skills and so on and so forth. It's been incredibly humbling for most of us who have believed in this front office, believed in the coaching staff, and believed in these star players. And it really shows you also how this team has lacked depth. Now, there's a lot of things that you can point to yesterday, and the obvious thing is the 6 turnovers. Dan Campbell said that as much. You can't win when you're throwing 2 picks and you're fumbling it away 4 times. It's just not going to work. You've got a center who, obviously is green and didn't know what the hell he was doing and struggled mightily. An offensive line that couldn't protect Jared Goff, and therein lies the biggest issue. Okay. But it doesn't help when you've got an end around that goes for a long touchdown. It doesn't help when your defense is missing tackles. And that's all part of the whole process. This team did not look like it was prepared to play. And that's not the first time this year. And that's a concern too. So all those things we'll have to talk about. The 5 sacks could have been a lot more. Pressure on 50% of the dropbacks, which tells you got to get rid of it quickly, and he did. But you know what would have helped that? The ability to run the football, and they couldn't run the football. Even with 3 tight ends, they couldn't run the football. So they've lost 3 in a row. It was a big deal about quote-unquote grit, because this team hadn't lost back-to-back games in 3 years, and now they've lost 3 in a row. Now they've lost 8 overall. Previous 2 years, they lost 7 regular season games. This year alone, they've lost 8. This year alone, they may finish below 500, and I think they will. This year, they've gone from first to last in the division. We say this at the beginning of every football season, and we will continue to do this because it's usually factually correct, okay? You're going to see 5 to 6 teams that made the playoffs one year not make it the next year. Never would you and I collectively thought that it would be this team, this Lions team, that misses the playoffs. Never would you have thought that Chicago would have gone last or first to Detroit's first to last.
They've traded places.
Yeah.
I said the same thing yesterday. I mean, because I don't think Detroit's winning next week. And even if they do and Minnesota does, Minnesota's beaten you twice. They've got that tiebreaker. Detroit's probably finishing in 4th place.
Yeah, I don't think Minnesota's going to be Green Bay. It doesn't matter. You and I will look at it and say, you know what? Detroit did finish in last place because they're going to lose to Chicago. And like you said, Minnesota's got the tiebreaker in both wins. Think about this for a moment. Last year, Detroit was unbeaten in the division. This year, they're 1-4.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Last year, this team on the road was better than it was at home. On the road, they were unbeaten. This year, they're 3-5. Last year, this team, the 2 losses came at home. This year, 3 losses came at home. It's incredible to me that. And here's the butt kicker. Which team in the division has the best point differential? Detroit. Skewed because of the game against Chicago.
The highs were very high, but other than that, I mean, it's been a long time since that Chicago game. You know, I mean, what can you point to from this season, and what makes you confident moving forward? What a season from hell, nightmare.
Well, that's a really good question at the end. What leaves you confident moving forward? That's a good jumping off point. It really is, because this is what the conversation is going to be like today, next week, the week after that, and for months. Why would you believe? Well, for the same reason you believed the last 2 years. Okay. The problem is when you don't get the type of results and you don't adjust the way you expected, this is what happens. And there's a phrase going to be associated now with Brad Holmes that I think a lot of people are going to use, and he's not going to like. And we're going to get into that here on X's and Bros when we come back here on a Ferris Coffee Friday. Lions, a loser yesterday. We're going to talk about it with you all morning long on X's and Bros throughout the great state of Michigan. Stay with us.
Mitch Lyons here from Mitch Lyons Wealth, wishing everyone a happy holidays. Just like the holidays, retirement should be a joyful time too, full of cheer and happiness. But for many people, it seems out of reach, confusing, intimidating, and just too darn complicated. Mitch Lyons Wealth wants to make things easier for you by helping you create a blueprint for a retirement of steel, one with certainty, protection, and income that allows you to live every day in retirement like it's Christmas. Stop kicking the can down the road and let's get you started with a blueprint to win retirement. The first step is having the right tools. I'm offering you our Retirement of Steel toolkit at no cost. This complimentary toolkit includes my book, Retirement of Steel, along with guides for taxes, Social Security, retirement income, and more. It's yours today with a simple call. Call 844-86-STEEL. That's 844-867-8335. Again, 844-867-8335. MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Huge here for Van Andel Institute Purple Community. Now, they're a grassroots fundraising network powered by the volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve health now and in the future. Learn more at purplecommunity.org.
Bring more party to your New Year's Eve and game day gatherings with Meijer. Save big on celebration staples like extra large avocados, now only 99 cents each. Specialty charcuterie meats are buy one, get one 30% off. 12 packs of select Coca-Cola and Pepsi products are buy two, get one free. Plus deposit where applicable. And Meijer potato and tortilla chips are 3 for $6 when you buy 3 or more. Bring more good to your holiday and game day festivities with Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com. At MHSAA on Twitter and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive, boys and girls, high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
You know, losing is very disappointing. Losing. I hate losing. They hate losing. We do. I mean, some of these things that come up, the effort's there. It's just, boy, we're just a little off here, and it's costing us significantly, and there again, too many turnovers. That's what really got us, man. Just couldn't overcome it.
Yeah, the turnovers, pretty obvious. That's the easy thing to talk about. I know it's a passing league trend. In order for you to have success, people feel like you've got to be able to throw the football these days. This is not the days in which Tony Dorsett was toting the rock, or Roger Craig or Franco Harris or Chuck Foreman. It's not the way it was. I understand that. How many times in Detroit's 8 losses this year do you think they rushed for 100 yards or more?
Once maybe.
Correct. Thanksgiving Day against Green Bay.
Okay.
In their losses, they've rushed for 46, 98, which is, pretty close.
Yeah, that's right
obviously. There. 65, 74, the 119 I mentioned, 70, 15, and 68. Last 3 weeks, they have rushed for about 150 yards in the 3 games.
They just completely lost that push. And I don't know if that speaks more to the O-line or what, but
it does. I don't think there's any question about that. It is interesting for me. It's always how people, idiots were actually saying that Jahmyr Gibbs is better than Barry Sanders. I mean, people who've probably never saw Barry Sanders unless on a highlight reel, just want to get caught up in a moment, want to have a sound bite for everyone to play, want to have something to say so everybody else is talking about them. Moronic. Okay? Just unfamiliar with the game of football. Completely clueless on just how good a player has to be measured against the greatest running back of all time.
And if you have a microphone and you said
moment.
anything like that, it's irresponsible.
Yeah, it is irresponsible. They want to have their moment. They want to be able to say, this is what I said back in 2025. And it's stupid, period. All right? You walk away from the conversation. I had a conversation with somebody 2 days ago who said, Michigan ought to hire Deion Sanders. I said, okay, I got to go. I mean, you're crazy, okay? I get why people feel like, and I like Jahmyr Gibbs. I get why people feel, how good was he yesterday? Any good? No. Like, we're going to blame the offensive line. There was a sack on Jared Goff in which he lost the football. Watch Jahmyr Gibbs blocking or attempt to block.
Yep, I know which one you're talking about.
You do, yeah. Oh, so Van Ginkel just blows right by him.
Yeah.
The thing I loved about him is his complete ability, not just his ability to run the football, not just his top end speed. Okay. I'm talking about everything associated with him. And when you looked at that, and we've seen it more oftentimes this year than we have in the past, when you look at that effort, it is inexcusable. So I'm going to blame a lot of the offensive line, but you better make sure you're using that poignant mirror in everybody you refer to, but even the guys you really, really like, because that's okay to say he wasn't good enough either. Those are the things that drive me crazy. We're going to pick and choose. You know what? Look at what he did against the New York Giants. The 237 yards rushing, of which he had over 200 yards. Look at what a day. Yeah? Was that all on him, or was that part of the offensive line? Oh, that's all him. So the 15 yards he gained against the Pittsburgh Steelers, we can blame him, right? No. We're going to blame the offensive line. Oh, I see. So good him, bad line. It's not the way it works.
You just have to be more honest as fans. Because I'm seeing that everywhere as well, Shep. Like there are certain guys, and you and I talked about this last week. I think Aiden Hutchinson and Jahmyr Gibbs, both in particular, for whatever reason, I think are treated with kid gloves in this town. I don't get it.
I'm not. Do you think that I think there's a lot of people who have been saying, listen, Aiden Hutchinson's got to be better.
He can be a little polarizing, and I think some of that is the Michigan connection. But I think overall, that kind of works two ways, if you know what I mean, because there's also the Michigan people that love him and he can do no wrong.
Sure.
That's what I'm getting at, I guess.
So let me ask you this
But
question.
people will blame Goff. They'll blame the O-line. They'll blame the defense. They never look at those two guys, I feel like.
Yes. I don't disagree with any of that, except for the kid gloves with Hutchinson, because I think he has been feet to the fire. Let me ask you about Aiden Hutchinson, just real quick, and then we'll move forward. Where do you think he ranks? Oftentimes misleading. Where do you think he ranks in sacks?
7th.
He's 3rd.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
What did he finish with? Because he had 1 yesterday, right?
No, he had 2 yesterday. He's
2
got
yesterday?
13 and a half.
13 and a half. That's pretty damn good.
Okay. That's his career high, by the way.
Okay.
Okay. He's got a career high in forced fumbles. If you remember Will Campbell, who came out of LSU, left tackle,
yes,
New England, very good player, out for the year. New England's been able to move on for some reason. He said while at LSU, he said, if a guy gets a sack a game in college, he says, if a guy gets 12 sacks, he's an All-American. If I give up 12 sacks, I'm one of the worst players in football. I'm summarizing here. Excuse me. Myles Garrett is going to break the record this year, Trent. He's got 22 sacks. He's played 15 games. In other words, he's averaging less than a sack a game.
Yeah, that's remarkable because for a lot of these guys, when they break these records, Shep, they always talk about how they've got an extra game now. You know, you got 17 games now. Well, he's only going to play in 16 and he's going to break it.
Yeah. So he's averaging about a sack, he's averaging about a sack a game. Obviously a little bit more because he's got 22 and 15. Aiden Hutchinson's at 13 and a half. He's at almost a sack a game. If you get a sack in a game or a sack and a half, you've done a pretty damn good job. People talk about Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is averaging under a sack a game, Trent. It's 12 and a half sacks in 14 games. And before you say, well, it's about the rushes as well. When we bring up pressures, people get pissed off about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about pressures.
Got to get home.
I want to get home. So the dude, and again, I've complained about him. I think he's got to be more consistent. But I would just remind you that, and I don't think he gets treated with kid gloves, but I would remind you, 16 games now, he's got 13 and a half sacks. If I said to you before the season began, he's going to finish with 14 sacks, a career high 14 sacks. And I don't think these are quote unquote empty sacks like that may be for a Gleyber Torres home run in a 13-0 loss or 13-1 loss. Okay. So if you're looking for sacks, how many games this year has he gone without a sack?
4.
4 times.
Okay.
Green Bay was the first game. Tampa was another game. Washington was another game. And Dallas was another game. I'm sorry, they're 5 times. Green Bay twice. Dallas, which was a blowout win. The other ones were, so he's gone sackless in 2 of their losses. The rest were wins. 5 games, he did not register a sack. 3 of those 5, Detroit won the football game. I am not making excuses for Aiden Hutchinson. I'm putting things in perspective. That's all. Okay? Everybody on this team, I don't care who they are. I don't care what number they wear. I don't care what player you're talking about or what position they play, has to be better.
And in short, the Lions had much bigger problems yesterday than the pass rush. Let's just say that.
And I would also say, I mean, you look at their offensive line. Coyote Awasika was at right tackle. Tate Ratledge was at right guard. Kinsley and Ngokun was at center. Christian Mahogany was at left guard, and Dan Skipper was at left tackle. That's, folks, that's a preseason game. That's the first preseason game of the year. You play with that.
They sucked.
Yeah, period. Quick timeout. Got some texts. Want to get to that. Take your phone calls on the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843. the text line, Sports Radio 21,000, on a Ferris Coffee Friday.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community, just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements. This center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact the Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center encourages others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby. To learn more, go to kirkgibsoncenter.org.
Make every second count inside the $3,360,000 Mega Cash Cube at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Every Friday and Saturday in December from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. 2 lucky winners will be drawn every hour to step into the Cash Cube. Once the bills start flying, it's game on. Grab as much cash as you can before the clock hits zero. $30,000 in cash is swirling around, and whatever you can grab is yours. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
Huge here for Van Andel Institute Purple Community. Now, they're a grassroots fundraising network powered by the volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve health now and in the future. Learn more at purplecommunity.org.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking at a lot, I'm going to be looking at a lot of things because I do not like being home for the playoffs, and I know our guys don't either. So, and there again, whenever you lose, man, it takes a village, man. Everybody's involved, including myself. I'm always going to look at myself first. I'm always going to wish I would have given golf more, given those players more. Like on a day like today, you come out, you lose, win, doesn't matter, man. You feel like you need to improve or can't improve, you want to. So Brad and I will have a lot of decisions to make.
Dan Campbell after the loss in Minnesota yesterday. Yeah, a lot of decisions to be made. There's a phrase that I think is getting linked to Brad Holmes. It's already pushed on Scott Harris, fair or unfair. It is the smartest guy in the room quote. And a lot of that is because of demeanor, which is unfair because Bob Quinn wore that label because he truly looked like and felt like and talked like he was the smartest guy in the room. And now Brad Holmes, as much as you trusted him, and I think a lot of people still do with a caveat. I mean, I think this season he lost a lot of trust from fans, and it's because of his unwillingness to do what many people felt like he should have done. You have to always adapt. We adapt in life, do we not? You've adapted from high school to college, college to the real world. You've adapted if you've lost a girlfriend or a boyfriend. You've adapted if you've lost a loved one in your life, somebody important in your life. You've adapted if you've moved at times, right? You've adapted if you've changed careers. You've adapted if you've got a new boss. You're constantly adapting in your world. Brad Holmes has to adapt. I'm not so naive to think that me or anybody I know knows more about the National Football League or his team. All right? I'm not going to claim to, like a lot of people who say, I know what this team needs. I hope he knows what this team needs. And if he doesn't, and he doesn't address it, then he shouldn't last much longer either. That is not a harsh or a hard take or a hot take or anything like that. That is just a fact when it comes to trying to get things right in an organization that you could consider, when healthy, and that's key, has 8 to 10 players among the best at what they do. There is not a team in football that had a better safety combination than the Detroit Lions. We're talking about 2 all-pro candidates. Just about every team in football would love a linebacker like Jack Campbell. Just about every team in football would like a pass rusher like Aiden Hutchinson. Just about every team in football would have wanted a defensive tackle like Aleem McNeil. Just about every team in football would want Penei Sewell at their right tackle. Just about every team in football would want Amon-Ra St. Brown as a wide receiver. Just about every team in football would want a Jahmyr Gibbs as a tailback. And you could make the argument, when healthy, they would want Sam Laporta as a tight end. That's 9 guys right there. I didn't mention Jamison Williams. I didn't mention Jared Goff. But those 2 are also impactful players. One is a top 10 player. The other is on the verge of such. So when you fail this miserably, you've got to be held accountable. You're holding players accountable. You've got to be held accountable. The Chiefs won 15 games last year. They've been eliminated. Their quarterback was hurt. They don't have nearly the talent of the Detroit Lions, and yet they beat the Detroit Lions. How many guys on the Chiefs would you want besides Mahomes?
Chris Jones. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Karlaftis, maybe. Okay, so there's not many. The
points well taken.
The Vikings won 14 games a year ago. They've been eliminated. How many guys on the Vikings would you want?
Probably 2. Van Ginkel and Jefferson. That's it.
I'm sure there are guys.
I'm sure there's more, but you get my point.
Yeah.
And I get what you're saying,
I'm
which is the Lions are losing the teams.
But Harrison Smith's a pretty damn good player, and he was really good yesterday. He's maybe a little bit older in the tooth, but there are other players who we don't always don't always jump out at you.
Yes.
Okay?
And your point is, which I think is spot on here, and we'll get to some text here because a lot of these guys agree with you. They're losing to teams with just inferior talent because of lack of execution. It's that simple.
Well, I mean, it's lack of execution and lack of depth is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
The Washington Commanders last year won 12 games. They've been eliminated. Terry McLaurin. I love Bobby Wagner, but I'd take Jack Campbell over him. There are certain players, right? You can't rattle off the players that you would want from that team on this team. I mean, Jaden Daniels is obvious, okay? Zach Ertz, really good player. The Ravens won 12 games. If they lose this weekend to Green Bay, and I think they will, they'll be eliminated. Those are double-digit win teams from a year ago. None of them have the talent that the Detroit Lions have. They may be better in one position here or there. Collectively, no, it's not. So who's at fault there? Well, the guy who's put this team together is the same guy who put the collection of top 10 talent together. But he's lost sight of what this team needed in order for it to stay competitive and didn't look ahead knowing that the other teams, specifically in this division, are doing things to combat your strength. So smartest guy in the room is a label that Scott Harris is living with right now. You know why? Because he's picking up guys like Charlie Morton and Chris Paddock and Paul Sewald and telling you, I know more than you do. These guys are going to be difference makers, and none of them were. He's telling you, I'm going to offer this guy a $22 million exemption. He's not going to take it. We're going to move our second base. Oh, he did take it. Now what do we do? That's the view from Tigers fans. Brad Holmes' view from Lions fans' point of view is, you know what? We're good. And that's going to haunt him until his team wins everything. Let's get to the text line. Go ahead.
You guys are spot on with the kid gloves on Jahmyr Gibbs, and I love him. I've got his jerseys in all three colors. It's okay to hold your favorite players accountable. If anything, you should be tougher on your favorite players because they're your favorites for a reason.
I like that. I like that a lot. You know, I know this may shock a lot of people, but, and the only reason I remember it is because I was doing Lions pre and post game shows. I was doing a weekly show at the main event at the Pontiac Silverdome back in the day. And there might be some frustration from people that, well, maybe Jahmyr Gibbs isn't being treated fairly, you know, or maybe people are actually too tough on him, for crying out loud, which would be hilarious in today's society. But as great as Barry Sanders was, and I think he's the best running back of all time, and I mean that, you know, from a playoff standpoint, against Dallas, he was phenomenal. Here's what a lot of people will bring up. They will bring up his game against Green Bay, and they will tell you that it wasn't good enough. And I'm not going to disagree with you, okay? Because in his career against Dallas in 1992, he gained just 69 yards. Against Washington in that same season, the NFC Championship game, he gained just 44. Against Green Bay one year in 1994, he gained 169 yards. But it's that game against Green Bay on December 31st of 1994, not January 8th of 1994, 1 year, where he went -1. In fact, in his playoff career, Barry Sanders averaged just 65.5 yards per game. Only gained over 100 yards one time. So against Philadelphia, 40 yards. Against Tampa, 65 yards. So that was the knock.
I'm glad you're bringing this up because this is what fair discussion looks like. It's okay to look at both sides of things and then make an educated choice. Our educated opinion is that Barry Sanders and Jahmyr Gibbs are not, I don't want to say not close, but come on, man.
They're not close.
I know. I'm trying to. I get it. I agree with you completely.
Okay.
And it was nauseating hearing some of those comments 3 weeks ago, even.
Yeah. Just remember. I mean, the guy. I know this can be again misleading. The guy was in the league for 10 years. He's a 10-time Pro Bowler. He's a 6-time All-Pro. Okay. So knock it off.
Yeah, he never had a bad season.
I mean, don't even go there for me, please. That's not what it's about. It's not about Jahmyr Gibbs. It's about, how this team has been built, the struggles they're going to have with their structure next year, their financial structure. There's going to be a knock on people's door. There's going to be a phone ring. There's going to be a text. There's going to be some type of email. And it's like, hey, man, I need you to defer some money. Taylor Decker, I warned people this over a month ago. While everyone was caught up in the game that was, my mind was going, listen, you've got serious issues that you're going to have to address. And remember, you don't have a third-round pick. You got a left tackle. You've got a center. You got a left guard. You've got a linebacker. You've got a safety you're unsure of. And you got corners. This will be one of, if not the most important off seasons in Brad Holmes' Lions career. And it will tell us an awful lot about just how good of a general manager he is. Because being a general manager is more than just drafting, as you know. Like, you better be, Isaac Tesla better be all that in a bag of chips. And I like the kid a lot. I'm red zone, bring it on, man. I love it. Hell of a catch yesterday. He better be everything because you moved your chips to the middle of the table. Okay. That Hassanin kid out of Boise State, he better be all that. You used a 6th-round draft pick on him, which I know sometimes can be undervalued, and I've undervalued it too. But that was the defensive end you pointed toward.
You know what? That's another one, Shep. Miles Frazier, to me.
And
because
I was just going to say that. Miles Frazier, like if their long-term vision, Trent, was Ratledge is going to be our center. That's where he started at training camp, if you remember.
Yes.
And then they moved him to right guard and they moved Graham Glasgow into center. I don't know the reason for that. But if he's going to be your center, Miles Frazier's got to be one of those guards. And he's got to be good too. This can't be one of those situations where, well, he's learning on the job. You need established players. This is why I wanted Kevin Zeitler so badly. And it was a $3.5 million difference, which is easy for me to say.
He wanted to stay.
Well, it's not that he just wanted to stay, because he just
but that's part of it. I mean, that's part of it.
But it's just how good he was for your team. Now, you could be a smart ass and say, well, how good is Tennessee with him? Frank Ragnow was the biggest loss. And I said that at the time. I was more concerned about losing Frank Ragnow than I was the coordinators. Underappreciated. Nobody watched him. All right. Nobody's buying his jersey at Ford Field. You're buying Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs and Jamison Williams, J-Mo. You're buying all those guys. You're not buying a center's jersey, which is unfortunate, but it's true. Until he's gone, until that guy sucks, you don't recognize him. You're not watching football for the guys up front. They're big. They're heavy. They spit in the huddle. They fart in the huddle. That's not who you're watching. You're watching the glitz and the glamour. You don't watch the guy who sets the pick. You watch the guy who hits the three. You don't watch the guy who mucks it out of the corner. You watch the guy who shoots it in the net. That's what happens in sports.
I think, and I'll stick my hand up here and take accountability, because I think I was even guilty of this. You cannot convince me that anybody, maybe outside of you and a handful of others that I heard with this take, understood the impact that losing Ragnow would have. And I know that's easy to say now, and it's easy to say after a game like yesterday, but I think it's true. When he announced his retirement, I was like, oh, that stinks. I'm going to miss him on the team, but, next man up. And you move on because you had Tate Ratledge in camp. It's not that easy, man. Nope. It's not.
He's smart. he's tough, and he's the best center the Lions have ever had.
Ever in franchise history.
Yeah. And I think he's better than Kevin Glover. I don't know back in the day. I don't know, Lou Creek, Mirren, I don't know any of those guys.
Yeah, I guess Super Bowl era is what I should say. But
I'm
still,
talking about he's the best center this team has ever had. Year after year, you could count on him. If you watched him play, you would recognize just how good he really was. It's going to be hard to find a guy like that. Okay. You got to go out and you've got to identify that guy. And I don't know if it's in the draft. I don't give a crap if it's in the draft, and neither should you.
Because it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
Doesn't matter how you acquire these guys, but you got to get them. And that's why, Shep, I think you nailed it earlier. This is the most important offseason for Brad Holmes. I think it's not even close.
These are the guys, Trent, who are the heartbeat of your football team. They are. Now, it could be Tyler Lindbaum. He's from Baltimore, okay? He's the Ravens center. He's a decorated player. He's a really good player. Go. If you want to spend some money, I know everyone's like, you got to extend this guy and you got to extend that guy. You know who the guys we never want to extend are the guys who do the dirty work. We want to extend the guys who jump into the stands after a touchdown and have a celebration dance in the end zone because you think it's cool and it's creative. And it is. I'm not saying you're wrong there. I'm just saying that's what everybody wants.
And Shep, I find it hilarious sometimes.
Lunch pail guys. I want the guys who give a rat's ass every single weekend and are in there sore and bloodied afterwards that nobody with a camera and nobody with a microphone go to. Those are my kind of guys.
I find
That's the guy that I
hilarious and ironic sometimes, Shep, to that point about how many guys, analysts, talk show hosts, whatever, will say, it starts up front. It starts in the trenches. And then they'll turn around and do exactly what you just talked about and only give credit to the skill position guys, only extend the skill position guys. That's the frustrating part for me.
But the only time they'll look at the trenches is when they're not getting pressure or when from a defensive standpoint or when there are sacks. 5 sacks, what do? Offensive line sucks. 68 yards rushing, what do? Offensive line sucks. And it did suck yesterday, by the way. But earlier in the year, when you're gaining over 200 yards, it's, boy, look at how great this guy is. We've got to make sure we extend him because look at how he squeezes through a hole. Look at how quickly he runs down the sidelines. It's all in hand. I'm not saying one or the other, but I'm telling you, that offensive line makes guys look really good. Right? Ask the Giants about that with Saquon Barkley.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
Great
in
example
York,
in recent memory.
Frustration. In Philadelphia, big-time jubilation. Rob Rubik's going to join us at 7:35. We're going to talk about the Lions. It's a Ferris Coffee Friday. What's brewing with Rubes at 7:35? Matt Drinkle, the head coach of Central Michigan, will join us at 8:35 to preview his matchup with Northwestern today in the Game Above Sports Bowl. We'll get to your texts on the other side. Stay with us on a Ferris Coffee Friday, brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth here on X's and Bros.
Bring more party to your New Year's Eve and game day gatherings with Meijer. Save big on celebration staples like extra large avocados, now only 99 cents each. Specialty charcuterie meats are buy one, get one 30% off. 12 packs of select Coca-Cola and Pepsi products are buy two, get one free. Plus deposit where applicable. And Meijer potato and tortilla chips are 3 for $6 when you buy 3 or more. Bring more good to your holiday and game day festivities with Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Mitch Lyons here from Mitch Lyons Wealth, wishing everyone a happy holidays. Just like the holidays, retirement should be a joyful time too, full of cheer and happiness. But for many people, it seems out of reach, confusing, intimidating, and just too darn complicated. Mitch Lyons Wealth wants to make things easier for you by helping you create a blueprint for a retirement of steel. One with certainty, protection, and income that allows you to live every day in retirement like it's Christmas. Stop kicking the can down the road and let's get you started with a blueprint to win retirement. The first step is having the right tools. I'm offering you our Retirement of Steel toolkit at no cost. This complimentary toolkit includes my book, Retirement of Steel, along with guides for taxes, Social Security, retirement income, and more. It's yours today with a simple call. Call 844-86-STEEL. That's 844-867-8335. Again, 844-867-8335. MitchLionsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Make every second count inside the $3,360,000 Mega Cash Cube at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Every Friday and Saturday in December from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. 2 lucky winners will be drawn every hour to step into the Cash Cube. Once the bills start flying, it's game on. Grab as much cash as you can before the clock hits zero. $30,000 in cash is swirling around, and whatever you can grab is yours. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
The Michigan Sports Network is your exclusive home for X's and Bros with Matt Shepard and The Huge Show later today at 3 p.m.
I know how much you love football, and I know how much you thirst for Lions talk. Hi, this is Matt Shepard. Every Friday morning on X's and Bros at 8:35, we will dive deep into the Lions. What went right, what went wrong, and what we can expect next. We call it What's Brewing with Lions analyst Rob Rubik, brought to you by Ferris Coffee. He's going to join me every week to break down the Lions and their opponent. What's Brewing with Rubes, brought to you by Ferris Coffee, every Friday morning at 8:35 on X's and Bros.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
Second hour of the program. Glad you're with us on this Ferris Coffee Friday. And I hope you had a really nice Christmas and celebrated with the family. Really important. And I hope you didn't let the Lions' loss spoil it for you. I refused to allow that yesterday. The halftime concert and people turning up the television at the party I was at, rather than turning it up during football, made me have to get up and walk away.
Wait. So you were at a holiday party and they did not have the sound on for the game, but they turned it up for the Snoop Dogg show.
That's correct.
Wow.
So that made me get up, walk into the kitchen.
That's a sports fan's nightmare.
Talk to a couple of friends of mine, or talk to a couple of my brothers-in-law, and they said, "What's going on?" And I said, "Well, we live in a society now where we're going to turn up Snoop Dogg, and everyone's going to stop talking and listen to that instead of the football game itself." And another one of my niece's husband then said, "Is it tough to watch a game like this here today?" I said, "Well, I'm getting pretty much everything I need, but usually I watch a game with my computer, taking notes, looking at graphics, charting certain things."
Well, yeah, because you got to talk about it for 3 hours.
I said, "This thing here is very challenging because all eyes are on Snoop Dogg." Anyway, bottom line is, I hope you didn't let it ruin it. Our Mitch Lyons Wealth poll question: was the loss to Minnesota the worst of the season? Yes or no? I would expect pretty close to 100% on that, but just wanted to verify. Let's get to some texts because there's a lot pouring in. Want to get to those for sure and give you the opportunity to have your voice be heard. Let me do this real quick. Freddie says this: St. Brown and Sewell didn't bitch about Christmas until this week. Why? Because they knew the season was over. I didn't pick up on the fact that they didn't bitch about the game on Christmas until this week. So it's a good point. I'm not going to jump to conclusions saying that they knew the season was over. I don't think athletes think like we do. I think athletes are like, we believe there's a chance and we're going to play that way. Sewell got hurt yesterday. St. Brown got hurt yesterday. Both started. I don't think they're playing. I didn't think they looked like guys who thought the season was over. So I wouldn't go quite that far, but I understand the skepticism. What happened to St. Brown remembering 13 wide receivers drafted in front? That hunger went away. You can bitch a lot on your podcast, but not to the media. Well, I think he's complained to the media a little bit. I don't listen to it. This is probably sacrilegious in this town. I don't listen to his podcast. Sorry. I get why we're tainted with a lot of negativity here, and I don't blame you. His numbers and his play. Now, he's had more drops, in fairness to Freddie. He's had more drops this year than we're used to seeing, but his numbers would tell you that he's still the gas level is still high. Goff is done in this town. Even if he takes them to the Super Bowl and loses it, he will never recover from this town because of his interview questioning the fans. That's interesting. That's very interesting. This is how quickly things can turn. If you win a Super Bowl, you're not done. But that's not what he said in the text. Do you think Jared Goff is done in this town? Based on what he has said, he said it on the flagship station in Detroit. He said that he was, pissed off, his words, for fans not believing that they can turn it around. Do you feel like fans will always remember that? We pick and choose. Matthew Stafford said a lot of positive things about this town. The one negative he said, that's what people latch on to. So I ask you, do you think Jared Goff is done in this town?
That could be a good poll question. We can bank that. I mean, I know we don't usually bank stuff, but I mean, that's going to be a discussion this offseason.
Oh, I don't think there's any question. I mean, people are going to be coming up with, he's got Goff and Gibbs and a 1 to Baltimore for Lamar Jackson and a 2nd and a 3rd.
My Lord.
Look, Lamar Jackson has proven me wrong. He came out of Louisville. I didn't necessarily like him. I didn't like the way he threw the ball. I didn't think he was going to be very accurate. He has proven me wrong.
He's refined himself a lot as a player.
He's a two-time MVP.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at trying to replace the quarterback and the running back. I want to replace the guys up front. Here's the thing we need to remember. You know who your guy is, right? What do we always say? Play to your strengths. Last 2 years, what was Detroit's strength? Up front, their offensive line. What did they do? They played to it. Goff was really good. Gibbs was really good. Montgomery was really good. It made everybody else around you on the offense really, really good. Made Ben Johnson look really good. It did, that offensive line. Play to your strengths. You know who Jared Goff is. Knowing that he's a guy who's going to stay on his dot, all right, stay on his spot more oftentimes than not, needs a pocket. How do you not address those guys up front? And I know they did draft. Brad Holmes has drafted Penny Sewell. He's drafted Tate Ratledge. He's drafted Christian Mahogany. He's drafted Miles Frazier. It's not that he's ignored the offensive line. He hasn't made it the top priority. Jamison Williams was a top priority. Isaac Tesla, I would say, was a top priority. Jahmyr Gibbs was a top priority. Brian Branch, a top priority. I'm talking about top 3 rounds, right? Jack Campbell, Sam Laporta. These are top priority guys. I get it. Please get back to who you were. I don't care how sexy it is when the guy puts on a hat, what suit he wears out on stage, how much bling he hangs around his neck, or how much of a hug he gives Roger Goodell. All I care about is how good of a football player he is and how much he wants to move the guy in front of him back 10 yards. That's what I'm at. That's what matters to me. I wonder if Lions fans even remember Frank Ragnow didn't even start at center. Yeah, he started at right guard before he became an All-Pro. That's a good point. Let's get to some other texts. Again, numbers, I can fall back to that, but they don't always tell the whole story. Amon-Ra St. Brown is not the problem for Detroit. I don't think he lacks any hunger. A guy who's got 1,400 yards doesn't lack hunger. A guy who is second in the league in touchdowns with 11 doesn't lack hunger. A guy who is 4th in the league in first down catches doesn't lack hunger. And a guy who is among the top 15, he's among the top 10. He's 5th in yards after the catch, does not lack hunger. I think the whole difference is, we've got some players that we've been around for a while now, and they're starting to feel comfortable in Detroit, feeling comfortable with the media, doing their appearances, getting a little extra coin for doing those appearances. Some may be doing a podcast, Terrion Arnold and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Others may be doing radio appearances on a regular basis, and they're being asked questions, and they're being honest. And we're wondering why that is. And we're starting to question their commitment. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes. I think it's okay to say, look, it's frustrating for us as a team that, we're surprised that the fan base doesn't believe in us. You've got to be really careful when you start talking about a fan base. We should be tough enough to take it, for crying out loud. We expect athletes to be tough. And yet, when the athlete flips the script on us, we get all butthurt.
Mm-hmm. Play the victim.
Which is ridiculous. But you do have to understand the whole scenario. And the scenario is that this franchise has never had success. It's been fleeting. So people are frustrated. And there's hope. They're hopeful. And when you make $53 million, there's a lot expected of you. You may feel sometimes it's unfair, but that's what happens. It's associated with it. This is not a movie where we don't know how much you make, and suddenly your movie fails at the box office. We're listening and watching you on a regular basis. Quick timeout. Rubes at the bottom of the hour on a Ferris Coffee Friday.
Mitch Lyons here from Mitch Lyons Wealth, wishing everyone a happy holidays. Just like the holidays, retirement should be a joyful time too, full of cheer and happiness. But for many people, it seems out of reach, confusing, intimidating, and just too darn complicated. Mitch Lyons Wealth wants to make things easier for you by helping you create a blueprint for a retirement of steel. One with certainty, protection, and income that allows you to live every day in retirement like it's Christmas. Stop kicking the can down the road and let's get you started with a blueprint to win retirement. The first step is having the right tools. I'm offering you our Retirement of Steel toolkit at no cost. This complimentary toolkit includes my book, Retirement of Steel, along with guides for taxes, Social Security, retirement income, and more. It's yours today with a simple call. Call 844-86-STEEL. That's 844-867-8335. Again, 844-867-8335. MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Ferris Coffee has been family owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Ferris Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
Well, anytime he's not able to step into throw, it's going to be hard for him. That's where he's at his best, obviously, in the pocket. And, if he's not able to at least hit that back foot and step into it, it makes it pretty difficult. That defense puts a lot on you, and it was a short week, and they went all out. And it's really that type of game where, you have to be able to run the ball. You need to pop a run. You can't turn the ball over, and then you just need 2 shots. It really is that type of game where, you come away doing that, and the stats may be ugly, but you come away with the 2 shot plays that made the difference, the 2 touchdowns, and we just couldn't, we couldn't get those. So
couldn't get a lot of that lately. That's Dan Campbell following his team's loss to the Minnesota Vikings yesterday. Minnesota sweeps the season series from the Lions. Green Bay sweeps the season series from the Lions. The division-leading Bears have a chance. Excuse me. The division-leading Bears have a chance to split with the Lions this year. They have gone from first to last. They've gone from a team that went unbeaten in the division a year ago to a team that is 1-4. In all likelihood, I think going 1-5 in the division. 3 losses at home, sub 500 on the road. It's really disappointing, frustrating. I think this is going to be one of those situations for Lions fans where it's like the various levels of grief where we're stunned right now. We're taken aback by all this, right? But eventually it's going to turn to anger. And it may be quicker for some than it is for others, but it's going to turn to anger pretty quick, and people are going to be holding as many of these front office people feet to the fire. Brad Holmes has a lot. It's amazing. He had a lot to prove at the beginning of his tenure, and he did it quickly. With a certain draft class, people literally said, and I've been one of those many people, in Brad Holmes we trust. Now, it's one of those situations where people are like, you know what? You've got to win me back over, because one season lost it for you. And really, maybe it would have been 2 seasons. Last year's trade deadline, even though he went out and got Zadarius Smith, and this year's trade deadline and draft class. Now, I don't believe you can judge this year's draft class. I think that's unfair. Last year's draft class, tell me the person from last year who's made that difference for you. That's a tough one, right? That's one of those ones where you're looking at it and you're going, wait a minute, hold on a second. That's not what I expected.
It's not Terrion Arnold. Sure as hell isn't Ennis Rakestraw.
That's not what you told me. It's not Giovanni Manu.
Mm-mm.
You know who the most consistent guy has been from that draft class? Sione Vaki, and he plays on special teams.
Yeah, that's embarrassing.
It is. It's really embarrassing.
And look, this comes from a place of, because we've seen Brad Holmes have excellent, not just good, excellent draft classes. We're holding him to that standard. So when you have a draft class like last season and potentially this one, that's where this comes from. That's where the frustration comes from.
Okay. Yep. 100%.
Because he can do so much better.
Let me be the negative guy here for a minute. You said excellent, and I think you've got to be careful with that. I know you can miss on first and second round picks. I'm not saying everybody goes 100%. When people behind a microphone say, well, a general manager is never going to go 100%, everybody understands that. Their frustration is when you don't go 100% on the first or the second round. Okay? At least that's the way I interpret it. Maybe I'm wrong there. But what I'm telling people is, you're going to miss on a 4th round pick. You're going to miss on a 5th round pick. You're going to miss on a 6th round pick. You're going to miss on a 7th round pick. The 1st, 2nd, and 3rd rounds, you better hit extra bases. If you're not hitting homers, you better have a double. It's a 2nd round pick, man. It's tough to come back from that. So when you say he's had excellent draft picks, okay, answer me this, Trent. Was Josh Pascal an excellent pick?
No.
Okay. Well, he's a 2nd round pick, dude. All right.
Was Hendon Hooker an excellent pick?
No, that was awful.
He was a third-round pick. Was Broderick Martin a home run hit?
Nope, can't stay healthy.
It's a third-round pick. Okay.
I guess I'm coming at it.
Was Enos Rakestraw?
No,
it's a second-round pick.
Looks like a complete whiff. That's the worst one you've mentioned so far. It looks like.
Right. So those are the ones I look at.
Yeah.
I know we should take the entire draft, but my immediate thought goes to the first 3 rounds. So here's the first 3 rounds: Tyleik Williams, Tate Ratledge, Isaac Tesla. All of them incomplete. You can't judge Tate Ratledge yet. You can't judge any of them. All right. Now, are they the second coming of, Aaron Donald, David DeCastro, and Jerry Rice? No, they're not, because otherwise they would have made that impact. But it doesn't mean that I've judged them yet. Is it fair to judge a player in his second year? I think it is. Terry and Arnold, Enos Rakestraw. I'm going to leave Giovanni Manu out of it, okay? I don't care what Brad Holmes' thoughts were. I'm talking about just the first 3 rounds. Let's be consistent here. Neither one of those guys have proven to be a first or a second-round draft pick, okay? Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell, Sam Laporta, Brian Branch, Hendon Hooker, Broderick Martin. Those guys were all first, second, or third-round picks. So he gets a lot of love for Gibbs and Campbell and Laporta and Branch.
And those are the I mean, that's
rightfully
you're not going to hit on everyone.
Mainstays.
So
those are the mainstays. Well, wait a minute. You said you're not going to hit on all of them. I'm talking about just the first 3 rounds. Okay, you got Hooker and Broderick Martin. Those are 2 whiffs. So suddenly you've got 4 whiffs.
Okay, I get that,
Okay.
and I get the point you're making here, Shep, and it's a good discussion. I just think when you list those first 4 guys that you listed, even though they're at the top of the draft, that, to me, those 4, that's enough for me to call that an excellent draft class, without a doubt.
Yes, that class. I'm talking about his work as a whole. All right. And lastly, Aiden Hutchinson, Jamison Williams, Josh Pascal, Kirby Joseph, Penei Sewell, Levi Onzuwerke, Aleem McNeil, Melifonwu. It's a close to a 50. It's probably 60-40. 60-40.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
And that's kind of
So
what I'm
I
saying
think-
here is we've seen the really high highs. So that's why the lows, like potentially the last 2 drafts, piss us off as fans.
Yeah.
Because we know you're so much better than that, or at least we thought you were better than that at your job.
Okay. Yeah. Right on. So, I mean, that's the whole issue I have with some of this. All right, let me get to another text. Go ahead.
Thanks for being on the air today, fellas. Easily could have mailed it in on a disappointing Friday, but some of us need to cope with the loss by listening to some sports talk. LOL.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it. I know that you've been frustrated. I know it pisses you off too, and you have every right to be pissed off. You have every right to be pissed off at this Lions team. We are not, I think, as a Lions nation, we are not expecting more than we think we deserve or what we think this team is capable of. I don't think we're unrealistic at all. When you go into a season fresh off a 15-2 campaign, and I hear so many people say, this is going to make them hungrier. Oh my God, nothing makes my skin crawl more. Oh, nothing makes us hungrier, right? Yeah, like Washington wasn't hungry. Green Bay wasn't hungry. All those teams that came close didn't make them hungry. San Francisco, all that stuff, right? This is a team right now that is one of the most disappointing teams in the entire Detroit sports scope over the last, go ahead, I want to say the last 50 years. That's not being hyperbolic. We're talking about expectations here. Their expectations, your expectations, my expectations. Collectively, this was a Super Bowl or bust season. It's been a bust. How else do you describe something going from 15 wins to 8? How do you describe something going from the top to the bottom in one full season? We'll talk about it on a Ferris Coffee Friday with Rob Rubik. What's Brewing with Rubes is next, brought to you by Ferris Coffee and Meyer.
Huge here with a message to all of you Lions fans. My good friend Josh Garvey, who runs Dorn Mayhew's Grand Rapids office, will join me every Thursday with former Lion Lomas Brown, and we'll go inside the Lions each and every week, all the way through the Super Bowl. Dorn Mayhew is proud to partner with the Huge Show, and we're proud to have a guy like Josh Garvey join us in studio every week. If you have a Lions question or comment, you can drop them at Huge Show on Twitter, The Huge Show on Facebook. Dorn Mayhew, proud to be a part of the West Michigan community and across the entire state with their corporate worldwide headquarters in Troy, Michigan. So make plans every Thursday, 5 p.m. It's Josh Garvey, who is a managing shareholder at Dorn Mayhew's GR office, with Lomas Brown on the Huge Show going inside the Lions every Thursday at 5 p.m.
You're listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network. And if you missed any of today's show, be sure to check out our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you find your podcasts to find the greatest hits from every day's show.
It's a New Year's Eve bingo bash at Soaring Eagle Casino. Close the books on 2025 and win big prizes, including free bingo for a year, logoed champagne glasses stuffed with $500 cash, concert tickets, bingo baskets, and more. Tickets just $200 on sale now at etix.com. Come on down and win big. It's New Year's Eve at the Soaring Eagle Bingo Hall. Main session at 1:30, early bird at noon. Must be 18. Rules at SoaringEagleCasino.com.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to my good friend Shep. The Huge Show is coming up later today at 3, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Okay, 35 after the hour on a Ferris Coffee Friday. Disappointing after what happened yesterday. Never disappointing talking with our friend Rob Rubik. He joins us, brought to you by Ferris Coffee, the official coffee maker of the Detroit Lions, family owned and brewed in Grand Rapids over 100 years now, and the official coffee maker of the Detroit Lions. Rubes, hope you and the family had a great Christmas. I know it was disappointing in watching the Lions in general. What surprised you most about the way they lost to Minnesota?
They looked uncoached at times. Their offense looked lost when they'd walk 7-8 people up. They looked lost. Jared looked like he was panicking quick. The offensive line, I mean, granted, they were just really two linemen. I mean, you had Panay playing and Ratledge. You had 3 other different bodies in there. So it's been a makeshift line here for the last 4 or 5 weeks. And I think that makes you understand a little bit more clearly when Goff signed his new contract with that offensive line he had. He needs that line. He is not a top-notch quarterback if he doesn't have that protection. And we saw that yesterday. I mean, I don't know. To me, when they're going to bring 7-8 people, it's easy. You just get it out. You throw slants, you throw outs. Why they're still trying to get down the field and he's taking sacks, he's not throwing the ball away, it's beyond me. So I think the coaching, to me, whether it was something between him and the staff, between him and Dan or him and John, whoever's coach or the Washington QB there, the quarterback coach, I can't think of his name right now.
Mark Brunell.
Yeah, Brunell. There was a shortcoming because they did not look like they were prepared to handle any type of pressure at all. And that used to be, if you remember, Shep, when you had the line when it was solid, you did that to Jared Goff, the Lions would gouge you.
Yeah.
They would go up and down the field. They would hit hots. They would hit, deep slants, and they just looked lost offensively. And that's went from being the top offense, a year and a half ago in this league to an offense yesterday that looked almost as pathetic as Minnesota's did.
Okay, so help me with this. If a Lions front office and scouts and coaching staff recognize the importance of that for their $53 million player in Jared Goff, they understand who he is, right? I mean, he is defined by a guy who, look, he's not real mobile. He moves up in the pocket. He can shift in the pocket, which is fine, but he needs that offensive line. You're right. If that's the case, how did they ignore it? Why would they ignore it the way they have? Or maybe that's an unfair word. No, that could be an unfair word.
Shep. I know they ignored it or they overvalued their own possession.
Okay, that's better.
Guys that they signed, guys that they drafted, guys that they went and picked up, that they overvalued them, looking at them on film in practice and scrimmage and preseason, whatever it was. I think they overvalue what they had. Then they put these guys into game action, and it's not pretty.
Yeah.
Dan Skipper looked like a turnstile. I mean, he seemed like he was stretched out. Looked like Superman half the game. Where he's like Superman flying, with his arms in front. That's what Dan Skipper looked trying to get to defensive ends, safeties, whoever it is. They're bringing pressure off the edges. I mean, guys just coming untouched. And then Jared too. Jared, I know he likes his completion percentage. Sometimes he had time 2 or 3 times to avoid a sack. Just get rid of the ball. Throw it incomplete. It's not horrible. Incomplete passes are not horrible. Sacks are tough. And so it was a combination. It's not just Jared. It's the offensive line, 2 fumbles or 3 fumbles, 2 or 3 fumbles, 2 picks, whatever it was. So they did everything they could to lose that game and lose it in style, and they were successful.
Yeah, I don't know if, and I agree 100% with you. I don't know if it's always quite as simple that it's just one unit, the offensive line,
everyone
because
contributed to that.
It's not. How much do you think Dan Campbell having to take over play calling duties as well as trying to be the head coach has impeded his ability to be a head coach?
Shep, come on. You know this. I know 100%. If you're going to be a good head coach, not just in practice, not just in name, but in games, a head coach has to manage the game. In other words, he has to manage the clock. He has to manage personnel. He has to manage the officials, which that's a whole nother. We do 3 days on that. I think the credibility of officiating is just going right. You've been saying this all year, Matt, and I was kind of getting but I'm seeing it now too. So you need to work the officials. I mean, you get some calls like that. How about the procedure penalty on the center because he lifted his head up? They do that every play. He didn't jerk it fast. He didn't try to, fake someone. So you got to get in that official's ear. You got to get the white hat over there and say, whoa, I'll take a timeout and say, what are you doing? You just cost us a drive. So, yeah, his ability to manage a game, to be interactive with everything that needs to go on for the head coach in the game is totally impeded because you're calling plays and, you're thinking of the next 2-3 plays that you're trying to call and you lose track of the game a little bit. So, yeah, I think he's got an OC. Not that he can't call plays. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
It's really hard to tell with the personnel they've had, but it's definitely an issue, as we saw again yesterday. That there's no rhythm, there's no flow, there's no
it's
success.
a painful
talent
watch.
still, even beat up. I mean, you got Gibbs, you got JMO, you got Amon-Ra, you got guys. Even Taslav, we can see. I think is going to be a pretty good player. So they got talent yet. So this is not a blow it up type of situation, Matt. But they need to plug the holes in the dam. They're leaking up front. They're leaking. There's no question. Is Ratledge the answer? I don't know. But that's where you got to be good at self-evaluation. You have to look at the film honestly. You can't say, well, we drafted him. He's going to be a good player. We like him. He's good. Well, maybe he's not. And
I can't stand
bait when they know they're wrong.
Exactly. And I can't stand the whole love of look. I like guys who come in and fill in and do a good job. I treasure those people, but we've made people like Dan Skipper into a cult hero, and it's kind of laughable. Who else does this? I mean, we do that. We in Detroit do this kind of crap, taking guys like that who are backups and wanting to see them on a regular basis because we think
no, I don't want
the
to
answer.
see him. When he's in the game all the time, it's never. He is a career backup, spot fill. Give me a few plays. If you have to live and die with Dan Skipper, you're not solid. You're not solid. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not ripping. Dan's probably the nicest guy around. What do you think when I was starting? They kept trying to draft tight end because I was a guy. But they just evaluate poorly sometimes, and that's what the Lions are doing. And their interior line, he hit on so many. Brad hit on so many players there. We got spoiled. I mean, when you got Gibbs and Honor, all these different draft picks, and Laporta and even Campbell. I mean, they got some dudes. But now, this year they did not hit on some of their linemen. Are just not good.
Well, he has not. He look. I don't want to take anything away from Brad Holmes. I think he's done a really good job, and I have nauseatingly said in Brad Holmes we trust. He's missed on a lot of guys, and I'm not talking about 6th and 7th round pick. You know how I feel. He's missed on 2nd and 3rd rounds and 1st round picks too. He's missed on Terry and Arnold. He's missed on Enos Rake. I don't even know if you can judge this year's draft, but he's Enos Rakestraw, right? So
yeah, right. Yeah.
So they've missed on Arnold. They missed on Rakestraw. There's a 1st and a 2nd right there. They missed on Hooker a 3rd. They missed on Broderick Martin as a 3rd. They missed on Anzaworke as a 2nd. They missed on Melifonwu as a 3rd.
Although he is starting in the NFL, so
but he's not starting for us.
No, right?
Okay. So if you feel like you missed on that, or you can move on from him, you took another 2nd and a 3rd on that position, is what you've done. And
who was the D tackle? Who's the kid we took last year? Is that
Williams? Tyleek Williams this year? You mean
Terrell?
Tyleek Williams?
Yeah.
But he hasn't been that good this year.
I watched him get rolled like a wino in the alley the other day so bad.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
He got pushed out of the gap about 6 feet, 8 feet by one guy. It wasn't like he got doubled.
Yeah.
You should never be moved as an NFL DT more than 2 feet by one guy ever. You got to be able to plant your spikes against a double team, let alone one guy's. Yeah, he has missed. I mean, he's hit on some, but I think everyone you look at their drafts, that happens. The key is, how do you come back? How do you bounce back from it? What do you do when you know you miss? How long do you stay with Enos Rakestraw? I mean, it shows you how much he's been on the field since they've drafted him. So I don't even know. Is he 15? 7 number he is?
He's wearing 9 now.
Yeah, he's wearing number 9 because
9. Okay.
Jameis Williams went to 1.
But I mean, come on. You got to get some value in. I agree. You can hit on the late picks. That's great. But you got to be 80, 90%. I'd 90% on the first, and you got to be 70, 75% on the 2nd round pick. And they got to contribute. And they got to contribute quickly in this league because there's so much turnover with free agency now, and people don't have patience, and owners don't have patience.
And they shouldn't. They should.
No, because the system is built to turn around.
Correct.
Go with the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
You know,
And
the
I think
Denver Broncos, where Sean Payton comes in, they were
right.
trash.
And Detroit will turn
you
it
can
around.
do it.
I'm convinced that
we just didn't finish the deal because there's a lot of reasons. You know, whether it's some of the picks we missed on, whether it's the inordinate amount of injuries that we get, whether it's not fitting that, you know, we talked about this before. When they signed Jared Goff, I knew they overpaid for him, but that's the market. But Jared should have taken a little bit less and say, hey, go sign me 2 top-notch guards, dude. Go protect me. You protect me, I will slice and dice people. But if you don't protect me, you're going to live with me, and it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah. And look, I mean, to your point, and Rob Rubik joining us here, brought to you by Ferris Coffee on a Ferris Coffee Friday. Ferris Coffee owned and operated for over 100 years in Grand Rapids, and their Den Blend, their dark Den Blend, is their number one seller, and it's the official coffee maker of the Detroit Lions. You look at the second round picks, and you don't judge Tate Ratledge yet. I think he'll be fine. But but you don't judge him yet. It's the second round picks are Enos Rakestraw, Sam Laporta, Brian Branch, Josh Pascal, and Levi Onzuwerke. You're under 500 there.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I mean, you get a little bit out of Pascal, but he has. Here's the problem. I'm finding. Think of all those guys you just listed. How many of them have been hurt a lot? You know, how many have been? You know, Pascal, he's been hurt a lot.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
And
Onzuwerke been hurt a lot.
Yeah, he can't get him on the field.
Rakestraw hurt a lot.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So it's hard, and I don't know why. I mean, maybe the worst player in the Lions is their training evaluation right here, or the way they're training these guys, because they're getting in more than any other team, along with San Francisco, injuries over the past 3 years than any other team in the NFL. So why? I mean, it's just bad luck being the Detroit Lions. I don't believe in that. So there's got to be something. So you have to self-evaluate. Look at what you're doing from top to bottom. Are you overtraining? You know, are they going too hard? You know, too long in the off season? It's frustrating. And I think what's really frustrating is we all know about the windows. You hear, they got a window to win. And that window is closing a little bit because Decker, who doesn't play yesterday, you see people say, oh, you know, Decker, he's not really good anymore. Well, how they look not having him in there?
Right. But I don't think he'll be back. I wouldn't be surprised if he retires. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen with Ragnow. You and I talk about this every time we watch a football game because we like the guys up front. But they've got a lot of issues that they have to address, Rubes, and they're going to be over the cap next year. So I don't know how they go about it. But let's get that's a discussion for a different day that we'll have in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about yesterday specifically. Besides the offensive line, this is a Minnesota team that just beat you with Max effing Brosmer. Okay, that's number one. Number two, it's a team that threw for just 51 yards against you and had 100.
It's a team that had 73 yards until they popped that long run on Jet. They had 73 yards in the game. You could run quarterbacks. They had
65, a 65-yard run. Yeah.
I looked at the stats as I was watching. I had 44 plays for 73 yards. You could run quarterback sneak 44 times and get 73 yards.
Yeah.
So, the Lions defense wasn't it. I mean, Max Brosser, he's horrible. And that offense, and I mean, it was just brutal. But you turn the ball over 5 times, and you give them field goal. You know, they give them short fields. They're getting field goals. So the defense played against a really bad offense with a really bad quarterback. The defense did fine. I mean, they played well. I mean, if the offense does anything in that game, we're not as depressed right now. We're talking about a team that, hey, you know, they're heading the right direction for next year. They're kind of ready to. No, but we're talking about a team right now that is in disarray.
Of the teams that made it a year ago and didn't make it this year, Washington, Kansas City, Detroit, Minnesota, you look at those teams were in the playoffs a year ago. I don't know about Baltimore. They probably won't make it because I don't envision them beating Green Bay. All right. Those teams that didn't make it and that made it last year that won't make it this year. Of those teams, which do you think has the most likely chance of making it and turning it around quickly for next year?
Kansas City. Because their quarterback is still elite. He is still a generational talent. they got some holes around him. But see, our quarterback's different. Our quarterback, I don't call him a one-trick pony, but he has to have the perfect environment. There's like a certain plants to grow. You have to have the humidity, the temperature, whatever it is. Goff needs a perfect environment in that pocket. And they were able to give that to him when they were thriving.
Yeah.
But if you don't, it's tough. So the Lions they're 4 linemen short, maybe 3.5 up front of being where they were a couple of years ago. That's tough. Kansas City, they got to maybe replace a couple alignment or two. Maybe, Kelsey's gotten long in the tooth. Maybe you're looking for him. They got some young, fast guys that been injured a lot. So, and their defense is still pretty good. So I can see them coming back. Washington, I don't know. The whole Jaden Daniels thing. Is he a China doll? I mean, is he a flash in a pan? So I don't know about Washington. Detroit, you know how I feel about us. I think we're slipping the wrong way quickly. I'm trying to think what else you said. Oh, Baltimore. Yeah. I mean, Lamar's window's closed. I mean, he peaked, and now the best one I see, Shepard, can't say just because of Patty Mahomes.
Yeah, he's hurt. He may not start the season next year because of the knee injury.
Right.
So that would cause it. And it's interesting that you don't say Detroit right away, only because when you look at their quote unquote talent, they've got top 10 guys in almost 10 different positions.
Correct.
They do. And yet, what is it about this team that you don't believe could be going into next year with reversing it again like it was reversed this year?
Well, I think here's the deal. I like Hutch. You know how I feel about him. I think we've overvalued his importance. People say, well, he doesn't have another sack guy. Oh, Muhammad's got 10 or 11 sacks. That's pretty good for your number 2 D end.
Yeah, right? Well, Hutchinson's got 13.5 sacks. That's a career high for him.
Okay. Right. But okay. He has 13.5. Sacks are kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. It's all about timing. He has some key sacks, but he's got other sacks. It's like, okay, they're a chase down sack on a scramble or something like that. I think he's good, Shep. We're gonna go round and round because you're not going to change my mind now. I think he's a good player. I think he's very good. He's not elite, and you'll never convince me he's elite. He's not a Myles Garrett. He's not a T.J. Watt. He's not a Max Crosby. He's not an elite player. Okay. I don't think so.
I can understand that. Micah Parsons had a chase down sack against Jared Goff.
Yes, he did. He did.
Okay, he's had 2 of them against Jared Goff this year. But I hear what you're saying, and I'm not going to disagree with that.
Twice yesterday. Okay, well,
great. Okay, well,
I mean, you could have sacked.
Well, no, I couldn't.
But you are explosive too, so that's
different. Well, I used to be. All right, my man. I appreciate it as always. It's great to visit with you. Have a great day. Have a great weekend.
Have a great holiday, bud. Let's watch some football. Some college football now.
All right, you bet. Absolutely, including Central Michigan against Northwestern later on today in downtown Detroit at Ford Field, and we will have Matt Drinkle, the head coach of Central Michigan, at 8:35, joining us here on X's and Bros on a Ferris Coffee Friday, brought to you this hour by Meyer.
It's a New Year's Eve bingo bash at Soaring Eagle Casino. Close the books on 2025 and win big prizes, including free bingo for a year. Logoed champagne glasses stuffed with $500 cash, concert tickets, bingo baskets, and more. Tickets just $200 on sale now at etix.com. Come on down and win big. It's New Year's Eve at the Soaring Eagle Bingo Hall. Main session at 1:30, early bird at noon. Must be 18. Rules at SoaringEagleCasino.com.
I know how much you love football, and I know how much you thirst for Lions talk. Hi, this is Matt Shepard. Every Friday morning on X's and Bros at 8:35, we will dive deep into the Lions, what went right, what went wrong, and what we can expect next. We call it What's Brewing with Lions analyst Rob Rubik, brought to you by Ferris Coffee. He's going to join me every week to break down the Lions and their opponent. What's Brewing with Rubes, brought to you by Ferris Coffee, every Friday morning at 8:35 on X's and Bros.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive, boys and girls, high school sports, MHSAA.tv. That's MHSAA.tv. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Bring more party to your New Year's Eve and game day gatherings with Meijer. Save big on celebration staples like extra large avocados, now only 99 cents each. Specialty charcuterie meats are buy one, get one 30% off. 12 packs of select Coca-Cola and Pepsi products are buy two, get one free. Plus deposit where applicable. And Meijer potato and tortilla chips are 3 for $6 when you buy 3 or more. Bring more good to your holiday and game day festivities with Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Thanks for tuning in to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network. Make your voice heard. Text Sports Radio, all one word, to 21000. That's Sports Radio to 21,000.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at FreddieThePizzaMan.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit FreddieThePizzaMan.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI, Together, we can make a difference.
Coming up later today at 3 on the Huge Show on the Michigan Sports Network, I'll deliver huge opinions on everything you're talking about.
smile at you, and when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off.
Home run! Home run! He hit it a mile! Let's give them the keys to the Hall of Fame, but not tonight. Tonight they are in the Stanley Cup. Steve Eiserman, come get it.
It feels like cool. Heaven must be lying. I got one question for you, Michigan Nation. Who's got it better than us?
Right center field. That's got carry. It's gone. Number 500 and history for Miguel Cabrera.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Yes. This game is over.
Let's quick, they score. Red Wings win.
Detroit basketball.
Boy, when you hear this game is over in that call, it's just this season is over, for crying out loud. Welcome to the final hour of X's and Bros on this Ferris Coffee Friday. We're brought to you this hour by our friends at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. We'll get to the final results of the poll question from the other day. Matt Drinkle joins us at the bottom of the hour. He is the head coach of Central Michigan University, who play in the Game Above Sports Bowl later on today against Northwestern at Ford Field. You know by now the Vikings have ended the season for the Lions 23-10. Dallas beat Washington 20-23. Dak Prescott a couple of touchdown throws. That's a team that isn't as talented as Detroit. I sure don't like them. They've played. They're limited, but they played their asses off yesterday. Credit where credit is due. Denver holds off Kansas City 20-13. The Broncos are 13-3. Pistons trying to stay undefeated on their Western road trip. They got a jump in Utah tonight. Detroit's won 3 in a row. The Jazz have dropped 3 straight. Top 2 teams in the East will skate against one another tomorrow in Carolina. That's right. The top 2 teams in the East, the Red Wings with 47 points, the Hurricanes with 47 points. Detroit will enter on a 3-game roll. They've won 8 of 10. Carolina has lost their last 3. Here's our Mitch Lyons Wealth Poll question. Was the loss to Minnesota the worst of the season? There are 3 games that I would consider in that category. Not based on play, but based on play and who they played. Those 3 games are the 2 games against the Vikings and the 1 against Pittsburgh. They have lost to J.J. McCarthy and Max Brosmer. And the reason I put it that way, because the defense played well enough to win for the most part, except for the 65-yard Jordan Addison touchdown run. The reason I put it that way is because when you look at Pro Football Reference, when you are associating quarterbacks with certain numbers, wins and losses are part of it. So Max Brosmer's got himself a win at the expense of who? The Detroit Lions. J.J. McCarthy doesn't have any wins, but one of his wins are at the expense of who? The Detroit Lions. That's the reason I bring it up. Anyway, was it the worst of the season? Yes or no. Vote as often as you want at XB Mornings. I'll retweet it out, and we'll get the results on Monday. How about the results from Wednesday?
Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday.
Tuesday. Who has done the best coaching job in the NFL? Was it Mike Vrabel of the Patriots, Ben Johnson of the Bears? And I know you're shaking your head vigorously. You don't want that. I don't want it either. But he's in the conversation because of how he has turned that football team around and how that team believes. That team, I know, I'm shaking my head too, everybody. That team reminds you of the Lions 2 years ago. There's an aura about them. There's a belief about them. There's a tough-mindedness about them. They are built on the offensive line and the defense. That's what the Lions were the last couple of years. I don't care what you think of Caleb Williams. He's not a Pro Bowl player. He's not an all-pro player. There's a lot of quarterbacks you'd rather have than him. But he's been put in some situations where he's had success. And that offensive line has been really good for them. And they turn you over. Unlike Detroit, who just throws it up like a baby in its first bottle of milk. All over the place. Oh, God. Liam Cohen is also in the conversation, Jacksonville, and Kyle Shanahan for San Francisco because of what they've had to deal with. I don't listen to San Francisco radio. I'm not listening to many 49ers podcasts. I don't know if Fred Warner is doing other Verbo commercials, but he's also maybe doing some type of podcast like I'm on Ross St. Brown, and good job, Terry and Arnold. Make sure you get behind that camera. That's a good thing. Way to go, baby. We appreciate all the effort this year. This is what Alabama does. Yeah. That podcast won't mean squat if you don't play football. Anyway, I don't know if that's what they do. Here's what I do know. They're not sitting there whining about injuries and all this other stuff. San Francisco goes out there and plays, and they win. And it doesn't matter who's in. Fred Warner will move on. Bosa will move on. Brock Purdy will move on.
They seem to have the same mentality the Lions had last year. And yet that was missing this year with this team.
Who's the mentality? The Lions' mentality this year is similar to which team last year? Or in general, what's their mentality? Arizona? Well, there's always
That's quite the
expected.
insult, but yes, I get your
Yeah,
point.
but there's always things expected of Arizona. Well, we've got Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Give him a step ladder and maybe something will happen.
Oh God.
I'm trying to figure this out. What is the mentality? If you say grit, I'm going to jump through the screen and the microphone and punch you in the liver. I don't get it. I just don't get it, man. And I'm as much to blame as anybody else. Okay. I'm not sitting there saying it's all I saw this coming. Nobody saw it coming. Nobody.
Shep, my dad was doing some last minute Christmas shopping a couple days ago, and he sent me a picture of a hoodie that said Detroit Grit, and he said, "Buy this for Shep." Because he knows how much you hate that phrase.
I did get some Lions gifts.
So did I. Was fired up about it.
Yeah, I mean, they're really good looking. I love them. I'm going to keep wearing them. I'm not saying you jump off a bandwagon here. I'm just saying this is concerning.
Yep.
And
frustrating.
Rube's used the word a number of times, and I don't like it. Window. All right. But here's what people look at. Like, who says it's a 3-year window, for crying out loud? Phillies has been bigger. Green Bay's in the past has been bigger. Patriots in the past has been bigger. Pittsburgh's window's been bigger. Baltimore's window's been bigger. Kansas City's window's been bigger. San Francisco's window's been bigger. Last year, they said San Francisco's window's closed. You think it's more open now? Shut up. Players, yes. Taylor Decker, window, closed.
I had a very good discussion with my brothers and my dad about this yesterday, Shep. I am with you on the whole window thing. You've changed my mind about that completely, because 2 years ago when I started working with you, I subscribed to that theory. Now I don't. Like, I do think it's complete BS, but you do have to admit, for the people that believe in that theory and the people that believe in that philosophy, it is closing, or you should be concerned that it's closing.
Mm-hmm. If you believe in that,
it's concerning.
Now, if they come back and win next year, and you had every right to believe that they can, if they come back and win next year, then what are you going to say to everybody else? That's the question. Results of the poll question on the other side of this commercial break, plus some of your texts, and then we'll get to Matt Drinkle. He's the head coach at Central Michigan University, playing in the Game Above Sports Bowl at 1 o'clock at Ford Field later on today. This is X's and Bros on a Ferris Coffee Friday, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Bring more party to your New Year's Eve and game day gatherings with Meijer. Save big on celebration staples like extra large avocados, now only 99 cents each. Specialty charcuterie meats are buy one, get one 30% off. 12 packs of select Coca-Cola and Pepsi products are buy two, get one free. Plus deposit where applicable. And Meijer potato and tortilla chips are 3 for $6 when you buy 3 or more. Bring more good to your holiday and game day festivities with Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community. just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements. This center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact that Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center encourages others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby. To learn more, go to kirkgibsoncenter.org.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Huge here with a message to all of you Lions fans. My good friend Josh Garvey, who runs Doran Mayhew's Grand Rapids office, will join me every Thursday with former Lion Lomas Brown, and we'll go inside the Lions each and every week all the way through the Super Bowl. Doran Mayhew is proud to partner with the Huge Show, and we're proud to have a guy like Josh Garvey join us in studio every week. If you have a Lions question or comment, you can drop them at Huge Show on Twitter, The Huge Show on Facebook. Doran Mayhew, proud to be a part of the West Michigan community and across the entire state with their corporate worldwide headquarters in Troy, Michigan. So make plans every Thursday, 5 p.m. It's Josh Garvey, who is the managing shareholder at Doran Mayhew's GR office, with Lomas Brown on the Huge Show going inside the Lions every Thursday at 5 p.m.
Okay, bear with me here. Much like you got a lot of stuff going on in the holidays. You hear a heavy breathing, perhaps? It's my son's dog, Tyson. The golden retriever. So we have 3 Goldens in the house. All right, 3 of them. He is he's a nice dog. He's a good-looking dog, but he is a needy dog. So if you're not petting him constantly, it's a constant pushing at your arm in order to do just that.
I can hear him. What's his name?
Yeah, his name's Tyson.
Tyson.
Yeah, Tyson. So we've got 2 male Goldens and 1 female Golden in the house, and well, the 2 males are much more needy than the female. Let's get to the final results of the poll question from the other day. Who's done the best coaching job in the NFL? Who was it?
Well, so based on your, I don't want to say rant, but your analysis in the last segment, I think you might be bittersweet surprised here, Shep, because Ben Johnson did win the poll. 39%. Wow. Mike Vrabel got 34%. That was my vote. 18% said Liam Cohen. 9% Kyle Shanahan.
I don't think there's a wrong answer to any of that.
I don't either.
That's good stuff. How was the Daily Wager brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort? How was it?
Yes, we got to go all the way back to Tuesday, but we took the Pistons minus 8.5 in Sacramento. They won by 9, so they covered that spread. They had 3 guys with 23-plus points. Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren, Tobias Harris. It was a good win for the Pistons.
Sure was. And they're continuing to rule. And they will play tonight in Utah against the Jazz, who are struggling mightily. What is your Daily Wager tonight?
In the spirit of discussing football with Matt Drinkle coming up, I'm going to take CMU plus 10.5 in the Game Above Sports Bowl today at 1 o'clock. I think CMU keeps it close. They're 10.5-point underdogs. Can they just keep it within a touchdown? I certainly believe so.
Well, last year, the Mid-American Conference was a winner over the ACC.
There you go.
Year it's MAC against Big Ten. So looking forward to that with Matt Drinkle in his first year. He's got his team in a bowl game, so good for him. Really excited for that. All right, we'll keep an eye out for that, and we'll have the final results on Monday in our show. Let's get to a couple of texts before we get to Coach Drinkle.
I think the loss of Sam Laporta is the most under-discussed part of the season. People talk about Kirby Joseph's injury, Brian Branch's injury, the loss of Frank Ragnow, Isaac Teslav's playing time, etc. Laporta going down was more important than all of them, in my opinion.
Yep. I'm with you on that. I think the Sam Laporta is a really good point. Now, I'm not going to sit here and try to convince the texter that we were all over it. I'm not going to say that. We did say that tight ends are a lot more important than you give them credit for. Tight ends are, in today's game, just look, they've always been blockers, right? I mean, it's Stu Voigt, it's Rob Rubick, it's David Hill. Today, they have to do a little bit of everything. I think tight ends, one of the hardest positions in football. You have to be a run blocker like an offensive lineman, and you have to be a receiver like a wide receiver, or the Kellen Winslow Sr., the Tony Gonzalez's, the Antonio Gateses of the world for receiving tight ends. Now you see more and more teams. Buffalo's done it very effectively, right? Because of their 3 tight end situation. New England's done it. The Lions did it yesterday. The Lions did 3 tight ends yesterday. Now, you may not recognize any of those tight ends, Ricci, Frisker, players like that, but they did do that. And it shows you, to the texter's point, the value of a guy like Sam Laporta. And it's not just that aspect of it, but it's the overall aspect. When Jared Goff is getting pressured, tight ends, more oftentimes than not, I'm not saying it never happens, but more oftentimes than not, tight ends are not going downfield. In other words, they're more to low to mid-range options for your quarterback. When you're getting pressure, who are you throwing to? Is it always Gibbs or Montgomery? Well, Laporta is a big part of it too, and that's where they really miss him too. So I think it's an excellent point by the texter. Thanks for bringing that up. We haven't brought it up enough because oftentimes then you file that under the folder of injuries, and it looks like kind of excuses. All right, another text. Go ahead.
Just curious, with the Lions out, which one of our teams are you now most interested in?
Well, that's a great question. I can tell you I'm really interested in what the Tigers are going to do in the offseason. Well, we're in the offseason.
But of the Pistons and the Red Wings, first of all, the Red Wings are the bigger surprise for me. I love what they're doing right now. I'm really anxious to see what either team does at the trade deadline, if they do anything at the trade deadline.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but you're more surprised the Red Wings are doing this well and the Pistons are in first place. You're more surprised by the Wings?
Well, the Pistons won 44 games last year, made the playoffs, and many people thought they should have beaten New York in the first round.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I think that's a good question.
I do too. The Red Wings, and I understand both sides, but the Red Wings are in first place. Not just the Atlantic Division, but the Eastern Conference. They're tied with Carolina for a team that didn't make the playoffs a year ago, for a team that hasn't made the playoffs in 9 years, and for a team that didn't do a lot in the offseason, except for bringing James Van Riemsdyk at $1 million, which many people thought was a ridiculous notion considering his age, and brought in John Gibson, who struggled mightily at the beginning of the year, but now has won 7 in a row. So what is it the Red Wings did in the offseason that made you go, they're going to jump all the way to first place in the Eastern Conference this deep into the season, compared to what the Pistons did based on what they did last year?
Okay, I get the logic, but I also think you could say, and I don't necessarily disagree with you either. I just find this fascinating because the Pistons, some of the discussion was, holy crap, they lost Malik Beasley. They lost Tim Hardaway Jr. They lost Dennis Schroeder. Can they make that jump from 44 wins to first place in the Eastern Conference after Christmas? That to me is surprising a little bit.
I agree.
And I had high expectations for them, but
Yeah, I would say, and it's not the same, but losing Beasley, Hardaway, replacing with LeVert and Duncan Robinson, again, not the
that's
same.
how they addressed it. Yeah.
Getting a healthy Isaiah Stewart and
Jaden
Ivey too, but he was hurt at the beginning of the year. And here's the key. Milwaukee struggling with injury, Indiana struggling with injury, Boston struggling with injury. When you lose Jason Tatum on Boston and Indiana loses 2 players, you damn well think that your team's going to at least make a little bit of a leap there. Now, this big of a leap is a great question. So I think it's fair, but I am probably more surprised. I'm excited to watch both. Maybe a little bit more toward the Wings just because they have surprised me.
What if I threw this at you? What if the Michigan and Michigan State basketball teams count? Would either one of them trump the 2 Detroit teams?
There's going to come a point in time where you stop getting surprised about Michigan State because year in and year out, they're just one of the best teams there are. Michigan, with the amount of transfers, everyone says chemistry. I mean, those guys have adapted pretty quickly, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. I'm just asking. I don't think either start is particularly surprising. It just might be like, I'm not surprised they're both at the top of the Big Ten. I just might be surprised that
they're
looks
in
like
the top
this.
10. Yeah, I agree with you. It's very convincing. It makes you go, I believe in them, and I don't see them waning at all. When we come back, we will talk with Matt Drinkle of Central Michigan, the head coach there, get his thoughts on his bowl game today and what the difference has been. Remember, he came as an offensive line coach from Army. They ran the football. They've done a decent job of that this year. We'll get to Coach Drinkle when we come back after this, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort on a Ferris Coffee Friday.
Mitch Lyons here from Mitch Lyons Wealth, wishing everyone a happy holidays. Just like the holidays, retirement should be a joyful time too, full of cheer and happiness. But for many people, it seems out of reach, confusing, intimidating, and just too darn complicated. Mitch Lyons Wealth wants to make things easier for you by helping you create a blueprint for a retirement of steel, one with certainty, protection, and income that allows you to live every day in retirement like it's Christmas. Stop kicking the can down the road and let's get you started with a blueprint to win retirement. The first step is having the right tools. I'm offering you our Retirement of Steel toolkit at no cost. This complimentary toolkit includes my book, Retirement of Steel, along with guides for taxes, Social Security, retirement income, and more. It's yours today with a simple call. Call 844-86-STEEL. That's 844-867-8335. Again, 844-867-8335. MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Make every second count inside the $3,360,000 Mega Cash Cube at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Every Friday and Saturday in December from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. 2 lucky winners will be drawn every hour to step into the Cash Cube. Once the bills start flying, it's game on. Grab as much cash as you can before the clock hits zero. $30,000 in cash is swirling around, and whatever you can grab is yours. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
The Michigan Sports Network is your exclusive home for X's and Bros with Matt Shepard and The Huge Show later today at 3 p.m.
Bring more party to your New Year's Eve and game day gatherings with Meijer. Save big on celebration staples like extra large avocados, now only 99 cents each. Specialty charcuterie meats are buy one, get one 30% off. 12 packs of select Coca-Cola and Pepsi products are buy two, get one free. Plus deposit where applicable. And Meijer potato and tortilla chips are 3 for $6 when you buy 3 or more. Bring more good to your holiday and game day festivities with Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to my good friend Shep. The Huge Show is coming up later today at 3, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Okay, big game tonight or today, I should say, for Central Michigan. They're playing the Northwestern Wildcats at the Game Above Sports Bowl at Ford Field. Excited for that. I'll be down there, and I think a lot of people, hopefully a lot of people, will be down there.
Will you be wearing Chips gear, Shep, as a proud alum?
Nope, I will not. Nope, can't do that.
Can't do it at work. Yeah, I know.
No, can't do it at work. Got to be a representative of the Game Above Sports Bowl, and got to be impartial, if you will. So expecting to hear from Matt Drinkle, the head coach of Central Michigan, here coming up as well. I had a quick question for you, and this is off topic from the Lions. I think we're caught up on text, are we not?
We are.
I think we're caught up on text. Okay, good. And I had asked, is this one of the most, if not the most disappointing season of any Detroit sports team in recent memory? Freddie texted us and said, how about the 2006 Tigers? Well, the 2006 Tigers, they did make the World Series.
At least they got there. Yeah.
And 2007, I suppose, the expectations the following year of 2006, where they won 95 games and lost in the World Series to Cardinals. The next year, there was an expectation, didn't make the playoffs, but they did win 88 games.
Could you say the 2014 Tigers? They still had a lot of that World Series nucleus together, went to the ALCS the season before in 2013, and then in 2014, they got swept by the Baltimore Orioles, right?
Yes. So, agreed.
Big fall off there is all I'm saying.
Well, they at least made it.
Yeah, right.
Their regular season that year, they won 90 games. I mean, did that keep you, in the words of Russell Crowe and Gladiator, did it keep you entertained?
Of course it did. But if we're talking about disappointment, I expected something from that team that year based on the
team. At least that team got to the postseason and gave you, well, yeah, I mean, the disappointment was heavy. Are you more disappointed in that team that at least reached the playoffs than the team that's going to finish in last place in its division?
No, to be clear, to answer this question, I am absolutely think this is the most disappointing Detroit team in any sport in a long, long time, this Lions team. So I agree with you.
Yeah. Could I say the 1996 Red Wings? They set the record for most wins in a season. Not the franchise, but the NHL record, and lost to Colorado in the Western Conference Finals. Now, I suppose people who actually, follow hockey would concur. Unfortunately, not enough people follow hockey and can't concur. And what they may say is, well, the problem is, this, that, and the other thing I didn't play. I didn't play hockey either, but you can follow it and you can love it and you can appreciate it. And especially a team like the Red Wings, who, if you think about it for a minute, this is a team, you talk about history, this team's got a deep-rooted history, more so than some other teams in Detroit. And people aren't going to follow them. Seems a little odd to me. Anyway, when you look at it from that type of lens, I wonder if that's how you feel. That's a team that comes to mind for me. That Red Wings team was really good. I mean, they were built, and I thought they were built for championships. And I say that in plural, obviously, and a lot of people would agree with that. When you do what that team did, and you have as much talent, and that's why I reiterate, look at the talent. When you talk about talent, that's what this team is all about, right? That's what the Lions, that's what we talk about with the Lions. We talk about talent first and foremost. That it's a deep, talented team. Okay. Well, if you look at that team with the Red Wings in 1996, remember 1995, it was shortened and they lost to New Jersey. They were swept by New Jersey in the Stanley Cup Finals. The following season, they won 62 games. That team was loaded with Dino Ciccarelli and Paul Coffey and Sergei Fedorov and Vladimir Fetisov and, obviously Steve Yzerman. Martin Lapointe was a really good player. Nick Lidstrom was a really good player. You had Chris Osgood, obviously. They were Mike Vernon. They were a really good hockey team. You go out there and you do what they did. Nobody else they only lost 13 regulation games, for crying out loud. 62, 13, and 7. So I get why we gravitate toward immediate football and baseball teams. I mean, maybe there's a Piston team or two in there that lost to the Spurs in the finals or whatever. Maybe lost to the Lakers.
Yeah, what about the 88 team, Pistons team? That was probably more heartbreak than disappointment, though, because of Isaiah's ankle.
Well, also
and the phantom foul on Kareem.
Yeah, got to the finals. That was the key. Okay, so they got to the finals, but at least they got there. So that would be, I don't want to be too polarizing here, but that would be the equivalent of the Lions making the Super Bowl and you being disappointed.
Yeah, because they've never won it, and they at least got there.
We're comparing a team that we expected to get to the Super Bowl, but finished last in its division and didn't make the playoffs. It's hard for me to compare that disappointment because of the expectations to a team that actually reached the finals for the first time in franchise history. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. And again, to be clear, I think this team is far and away the most disappointing, at least in my lifetime. 26 years. I mean, give me a break. I don't think anything's even close.
No. I would agree with that. It's
based on preseason expectations and postseason or lack of postseason success, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Because last year's team was disappointing too. That was a huge letdown after getting the 1 seed and all that. The Washington game. But they won 15 games, man, and won the division.
Yeah. Yeah. The postseason was disappointment. This is the almost, you feel like the entire season. So with that said, I was reading an article the other day about from ESPN, and they were talking about the school or the most frustrated Major League Baseball fan bases. Speaking of frustration.
Oh, boy.
And I thought, okay, well, the Tigers have to be in there, right? They haven't won a World Series since 1984. So we're talking about 41 years here, going on 42. They have to be in the conversation. In addition to that, they have the best pitcher on the planet, and there hasn't been a decision on what to do with him. And there is all kinds of young players that there are expectations for. All right. So I thought they've got to be in the top 10. Here's who ESPN ranks. And this shouldn't surprise us too much because of their bias. And this is why you got to be careful on which websites and which writers and docuseries you're actually listening to. Like if you look at certain docuseries, the Celtics, well, it's who's it all about? Oh, it's all about Bill Simmons, who is a Boston native and a Boston fan. And that's what you get. And this is my personal hardship, and this is where, you got to reel me in and say, geez, oh, Pete, you stop being so pissed off at the world. It's Boston this, Boston that. Let's do another movie with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, and let's have Boston be in the center of it all, right? When is somebody going to come out there and do something for Detroit, right? That's oftentimes how I feel. And there's a little bit of naivete in there. There is a little bit of jealousy in there for sure. But this is what you get. Here's another documentary. What's it on? The San Francisco 49ers. Hey, that's great. The Dallas Cowboys. Hey, that's great. The Patriot Way. Hey, that's great. The Celtic Way. Hey, that's great. It's where they're all focused and which teams they are focused on. What do they have? They have Boston at number 10 as a fan base. The Reds at number 9. The Orioles at 8, the Rockies at 7, the Giants at 6, the Cardinals at 5, the Angels at 4, the Pirates at 3, the Mets at 2, and believe it or not, the number 1 frustrated fan base, the Minnesota Twins.
What?
Wow. I know.
I mean, I
Blows
get
your
it. I get why they'd be on the list, but
Do
number
you?
one? Yeah, but number one? What the hell?
Yeah, that's very strange. Let me go to the phone lines and reel somebody in on a Ferris Coffee Friday. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's Freddie. We're still trying to get in touch with Coach Drinkle, but for now, Freddie is talking Lions with you, Shep.
Hey, Freddie, good morning, my friend. How are you?
Hey, Shep, how are you?
Good, buddy. Hope you had a good Christmas.
Yeah, it was good. No Coach Driscoll, but you got Stallions here with his glasses on. Just kidding. So I want to ask you about the Lions. So there's going to be a lot of theories of what's going, what happened, and is it as easy as just injuries with the Lions? And I know I've texted you, and I think I texted you this morning about it, and kind of a theory, maybe a discussion is, did the NFL, obviously the NFL draft here wasn't a bad thing for the city of Detroit, but was it a bad thing for the Detroit Lions, the players?
Yeah, I appreciate the phone call, Freddie, very much. Coach Drinkle's joining us here, but I don't think so. I think all that notoriety is nothing but a positive. There's some notoriety for Central Michigan as they play Northwestern. Coach Drinkle is the man manning the ship for CMU, and he joins us here on X's and BrO's throughout the state of Michigan. Or we had him for a moment, but we just lost him, unfortunately. So we'll try to get him back. It's an interesting theory from Freddie. I think anytime you can put your city in the spotlight and it responds the way Detroit did is a positive. I don't think that's a negative at all. Okay. Was it a negative for the Detroit Lions? I don't know how it could be. It didn't force you to draft certain players. It didn't force you to fail to grab a certain player at the trade deadline, So no, I'm not going to go that far. I don't want to go too deep. Sometimes we don't have to go as deep as many people would like to. Sometimes you can just make it as simple as possible. And that is, you have failed on about 50% of your second round draft picks. For as many home runs, using a different cliche, for as many home runs as you may have in a specific draft, and it was a really good one. The 2023 NFL draft for the Detroit Lions was the best draft the team perhaps has ever had. When you get Gibbs and Campbell, Laporta and Branch, and you make them into starters, all four of them, that is massive. And you followed that up after drafting three other starters in Hutchinson, Williams, and Joseph. Those are the ones that people will focus on. And I understand why. It's okay to also look at the other players who were drafted and have not been successful. And I'm not talking about Kobe Swordsdale, all right? I'm talking about guys you expected a lot of because of their draft position, and you haven't received the benefits from that. Now, this is not revisionist history and taking shots at Brad Holmes. I'm not doing that. I like Brad Holmes. I think Brad Holmes is going to do a good job for the Lions. I think he's going to bounce back. I think there's going to be certain things that he has learned from this season. And if he hasn't, he'll lose his job, and he should lose his job. You have to adjust. But we get caught up in 2023. There are other drafts that he's conducted that have been a mixed bag. I don't expect 100%. I'm not unrealistic here by any stretch. But there are certain things that you have to remember and certain things that have to be adjusted. And if you're going to, and it just doesn't seem like they're on the same page, if you're going to spend as much draft capital on a guy like Isaac Tesla, who I like a lot, especially in the red zone, and your coaches until just a few weeks ago were playing him on only 25% of the snaps and targeting him basically once a game. If that's how are you in simpatico with your coaches? I get that the coaches are the ones who handle everything. They're the ones the guys who are going to play are the guys who we trust and we think have earned it. That's fine. It's not a shot at Khalif Raymond or anything like that. But if your general manager comes out and your general manager says, hey, listen, man, I mean, I'm higher on this guy than anybody else. Our coaching staff loves, or our scouting staff loves him. And you got him for 16 games and he only has 15 receptions. And he's only been targeted 1.15 times per game. He's only been targeted 26 times. Despite the success, despite the fact this dude has 15 catches, 13 first downs, 6 touchdowns. Let me repeat that. 15 catches, 6 of those are touchdowns, 13 are first downs. Okay? When you've got a guy who's that productive, and yet his snap count is at 37%. Through yesterday, his snap count's at 37%. That seems like the general manager and the coaching staff are off base. Doesn't seem like they're in alignment at all. Without reading too much into it, that's the way it feels like for me. I want to thank Rob Rubick. I want to thank Ferris Coffee. I want to thank our partners, Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, Meyer, Mitch Lyons Wealth. And thank you for giving us some time on a Ferris Coffee Friday. We are back with you Monday morning, 6 o'clock here on X's and Bros. Have a great weekend, everybody, and enjoy it.
Mitch Lyons here from Mitch Lyons Wealth, wishing everyone a happy holidays. Just like the holidays, retirement should be a joyful time too, full of cheer and happiness. But for many people, it seems out of reach, confusing, intimidating, and just too darn complicated. Mitch Lyons Wealth wants to make things easier for you by helping you create a blueprint for a retirement of steel. One with certainty, protection, and income that allows you to live every day in retirement like it's Christmas. Stop kicking the can down the road and let's get you started with a blueprint to win retirement. The first step is having the right tools. I'm offering you our Retirement of Steel